As warrior dads, we got to tackle a lot of things, but tackling low testosterone levels should definitely not be one of them. We need to keep our testosterone at peak levels, and that is absolutely crucial for all of us. So I'm sure you know all the horrible things associated with low T levels. If you don't, it's definitely not pretty. It's Google search away. But unfortunately, testosterone levels in men have been consistently decreasing over the last 2 decades. And it's actually one of the biggest conversations I have to have when working with men, which is why I decided to create the Warrior Dad's Testosterone Booster Guide and Checklist. It's a free download, and all you have to do is go to checklist.warriordads.com. Just download it, start implementing it, and start to feel the difference. So again, go to checklist.warriordads.com and get your free copy now. Being a dad isn't always easy, but it's the best thing I ever did. I'm constantly improving myself to be the best dad I can be through fitness, nutrition, mindset, and lifestyle. As fathers, we pass on many things to our children, such as our mindset, our habits, our attitude, and what we've learned along the way. Each of these will shape who our children are and who they will become. The Warrior Dad's mission is to help you become the healthiest version of yourself, to hone your edge, and to live with purpose. My name is Jim Bertamy, and this is the Warrior Dads Podcast. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning back in for another episode of the Warrior Dads Podcast. I know it's actually been a little longer than I'd like to have a podcast episode. I try to get one out once every week, but I was really, really sick there for a while. Had the flu, turned into bacterial infection, and just was bad. I lost 15 pounds in a week, and was holed up here in the house and cabin fever and all that stuff. But better, and I have an awesome episode that I've been really looking forward to doing for quite a while, and I'm really excited to bring him on the show. He's a family member. He's a cousin. We're very close ever since even when we were younger, and just continue to grow together as we got older, and our kids are pretty much just, same exact age, 3 weeks apart. And so they're really close, which is nice. And he's just all around great guy, a true American hero, veteran of the Coast Guard, and currently a Philadelphia firefighter. So super proud to call him my cousin. So without further ado, here is Gary Paci. Thanks for coming on the show, cuz.
Yeah, thanks for having me, cuz. That was a great intro.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, of course. So we're going to get into your background, and just currently, I kind of already mentioned a little bit about it, but, just give people a little bit more detail of, basically what kind of led you to the point that you're at now. And, as a current active Philadelphia firefighter, but give people a little bit about the background, what you've done along the way, and again, what's led you to now.
Okay. Our family, a lot of people were in the military, so that was always in the back of my mind. And at the time, it was like 97, 98. There wasn't much going on for maybe some of the other military branches. Coast Guard was always out there doing something. And the law enforcement, search and rescue really appealed to me. So, I signed up, went through boot camp. I was stationed in Florida for a little bit on the Ventress, and got to do some cool stuff. Went out to school in California for a couple months, and then I got stationed back in Philadelphia, where I finished up my career. It was real rewarding. I got to meet a lot of great people, got to do a lot of cool stuff. Then after that, I got out for a few years, went back to school, and then I was hired by the Federal Bureau of Prisons as a correction officer. Did about a year and a half with them. And then I got hired by the Philadelphia Fire Department. I've been there presently about 13 years, the last 6 in special operations, and also on the FEMA Urban Search and Rescue team as a rescue specialist.
So you're actually on a team for the FEMA? Or
yes.
because you're special operations, you're automatically in that?
Well, what they do is... like for Philadelphia, they're the sponsoring agency for Pennsylvania Task Force 1 under the FEMA team. So you go special operations, ultimate goal is to put you on the FEMA team. So the training we get is a lot of technical rescue and rope rescue, confined space, structural collapse, advanced like machinery and vehicle rescue, trench rescue, and water rescue. And then also being in a squad company, we have hazardous material technician level training.
Yeah, I remember seeing all that stuff on the truck when I brought Jimmy down to
Yeah,
check it out. It's a lot
that's
of
pretty
stuff.
cool.
It's a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
It's cool always bringing the kids down too. Check it out.
Yeah, it is. Those trucks are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
With all the gear that you guys are able to fit on there.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's always the best way we fit it on, but we get it on there.
Yeah, right. So a lot of the stuff that you did in the Coast Guard probably helps you with all the FEMA stuff, right?
Some of the search and rescue aspects of it, like working in a smaller team, like in the Coast Guard, we did a lot of obviously water rescues on small boats. So a big part of the FEMA rescue system is water rescue. We go out and a 3-man team in a boat, and either do recon, different areas to see if we can find anybody, or actually perform rescue or help assist somebody.
Yeah, and
So
you were actually pretty active with all that, with all the hurricanes and all the weather that other places were getting around the country, right? I mean, you went to, were you in Texas a couple of years ago, was it? Or
yeah,
then the Carolinas and then Alabama?
yep.
Tell everybody a little bit about that.
So last year I got deployed for Hurricane Harvey in Texas. We were there for a few weeks. It was a lot of, water damage and searching houses and, helping people out. Then after that, on our way home, we were redeployed for Hurricane Irma in the Florida Keys. So we went down there and helped assist the people down there. And then this past year, I was deployed for Hurricane Florence in the Carolinas. There was a lot of water rescue type stuff. And then I came home after about a month. And then I was redeployed for Hurricane Michael down into the panhandle of Florida. Helped render assistance and perform wide area searches. The area was pretty devastated. We were active the whole time we were there. I think we were deployed for 2 weeks. We were working every day, like 14-hour days. So
Jeez.
got to do a lot of good work, and it was great to see how fellow Americans help each other out, especially in such a disaster area.
Yeah, and other guys, you were telling me before, other guys were getting deployed from all around the country, right? I mean, you even had some New Jersey guys, and was it Boston or?
Massachusetts has a team. It's how the system works is they have a kind of like, because once there's like 28 teams in the system, so each team is on like a board where certain months the one team's up, and then the next team, so forth. But when a major hurricane like that, they usually send all the teams out, and we were working close to New Jersey, where we actually gave them a hand in their search grid because we were flying through ours pretty good.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me that. You guys were like the first ones on the road, getting ready to suit up and go out.
Yeah. Our leadership did a great job putting us in a good position to get some work out of it.
Nice. Cool, man. Well, thank you for your service with all that. I mean, that's huge. I mean, you're back just, fighting fires every day, saving lives, and then, disaster strikes. And it is good. Like you say, other people helping people and people coming together from all across the country to help those in need. So that's awesome.
I just feel lucky that I get to do it. That being part of the FEMA team is, the pinnacle of my career. It's an awesome thing. And I want to say there's only 5,000 of us in the whole country. So it's a real big deal. And I feel very honored to be part of it.
Yeah, I bet, man. And it takes a certain type of person to do it, right? I mean, it's just like, I would imagine that not every firefighter would get to do something like that, right? Or is everyone, do you think, in your opinion, fit to do that?
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, I guess, it comes down to what you want out of your career. If you want to take that, extra step and get the extra training and, go above and beyond what's asked of you. I think, anyone could be on the team in the fire service. I guess it just depends on what you want for your career.
What about
If that makes
What
sense.
about physical capabilities?
You definitely have to be in shape, because we're trekking through like, these areas when we're in the panhandle where trees are down, there's bushes everywhere. So you got to climb through everything and you're going back miles. Usually you walk a couple miles, what maybe take you half hour, an hour. Now you're going through all this devastation. It's taking you a few hours to get back there.
Right.
So you got to definitely have the strength and endurance to do it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know you were training firefighters before, right? You started, did you go for like a personal training certification?
yeah, I got it through ISSA.
So how did that come about? And why did you decide to start training other firefighters?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. The guy who started the program, he calls me one day. He's like, "Hey, man, are you interested in, being a personal trainer for the department?" He asked me because he knows, I work out a lot and, I try to stay fit. And I told him, I was like, well, I don't know if I have time, So he's like, all right, well, I'll call you in a few months. We'll talk about it then. So he calls a few months later. He's like, all right, man, I got you set up for this ISSA personal training program. So I was like, all right, well, I'm already in it, so I might as well do it. So that's basically how it started. So I was one of, like, as we say in the Coast Guard, a plank owner of the program, meaning like we're one of the first members of it.
Uh-huh.
So that was pretty cool. So,
but you're not doing it anymore.
No, I did it for about a year and a half.
Okay.
So,
what did you like about it, and why did you stop? Did the program get shut down?
No, it's going real strong now. They have, a couple gyms they operate out of, and it's going really good. And a lot of members are taking part in it, so it's a good program for the department.
Okay. So why'd you stop?
It just my son was getting more involved in his sports, and there's more practices during the week. So it was hard to manage the time between being a firefighter, being part of FEMA, the family life, and then the personal training.
Yeah.
So they were asking more time to be involved, and I couldn't give it all I wanted to.
So how did you like training other people and getting them ready to have their bodies in the same shape as yours, or get them more up to speed with the type of workouts that you do? Did you well, one, I want to know how you liked it, and then two, did you give them a lot of the same things that you do because you guys are both in the same profession and trying to achieve the same goal, or did you change up the workouts depending on the individual?
One, I enjoyed it because you got to see people, put the time into it. You see the big changes with them, and they kind of change their whole lifestyle. They embrace the fitness lifestyle. So that was always cool. And, there's a lot of guys that I got to train with that really made, big differences in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it just kind of depended on each client, especially like what they had access to. Because some people, like a lot of guys I would try to take to my gym, because we had, the sled, we had a tire, we had ropes, all that stuff. So I try to take there, but if they, didn't have access to that, then I would see what they had access to, and I would try to formulate, a plan that was still functional, but yet that they could use.
So you were developing a plan that they could do on their own, or you were still training them, but then giving them things to do on their own as well?
Yes. And it just all depends, because some people just wanted a plan and like a nutrition guide without like me being with them. And then other people wanted me to train with them. What
percentage of people you think weren't training before they signed up for doing the training with you? Like, I mean, I imagine, a firefighter needs to keep themselves in shape. I mean, you got all that. I mean, how heavy is the gear? Just the gear alone? With the tanks?
Well, the air tank is probably, well, I would say all together, depending on like your personal stuff, it could be anywhere from like 70 to 100 pounds you got on you.
Yeah, I mean, just that, even just walking around with that is tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I'll walk to the farmer's market with the weight vest that you gave me years ago, and that'll have like 35, 40 pounds in it, depending on the day. And just walking is more challenging, you know what I mean? Because you're just carrying
yeah,
around more weight. But then
yeah.
you're climbing with that on, and then you're, moving around or picking picking out somebody up or swinging an axe or something like that. So you're doing more than just walking. I mean, when I think of that, I'm like, you got to keep yourself physically fit. How many people weren't doing what they should have been doing technically, quote unquote, however you want to, word it. I mean, nothing against them, you know, because we're not naming names either. But it's like,
Right.
what percentage of people, in your opinion, probably weren't doing what they really needed to do to meet the demands of their job?
I mean, I don't have an exact percentage, but I'm going to say it's a big percentage.
More than 50%?
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's really big. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's awesome that you were able to actually change their lives. And do you still talk to them, even though you're not training them anymore, and see that they've stuck with it and stuck with that lifestyle?
Oh yeah, especially the one guy in my platoon. He's a straight savage now. So I see him all the time, and he's doing really good. And so he dropped a lot of weight. He's toned up, and he's a machine on the fire ground.
So his job got even better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. Did you ever have a talk with him throughout the time, or like where do you think his motivation came from to do that, to get himself better?
Maybe he saw access to a free trainer. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely, but to stick with it, right? I mean, like, so for example, where does your motivation come from besides just meeting the demands of your environment for the working out? I mean, because even if you stopped being a firefighter one day, right, you're still going to train, you're still going to work out, you're still going to keep
Yeah,
yourself healthy and strong. But
yeah.
what's the reasoning behind it? Where's that motivation come from for you?
Well, I mean, I've always been in sports and always been the working out, so it's just always been ingrained in me. But now, even more so, it's setting an example for my son. We waking up early, and like everyone says, you wake up early and you show your discipline. You work hard, and because every goal is on the other side of hard work. So, I guess the biggest one now, besides the job aspect and being healthy for my family, is setting a good example for my son. Especially he's coming up. He's 6 now. He's big in sports, and he's sooner or later he's going to be able to hit the weights and work out more. So I want to show him that I've been doing it. Now you can do it. I'm not asking you to do something I've never done.
Right. Yeah, that's good too, because a lot of people say that they want more for their kids, a better life than they had, or whatever that looks like, more money, better house, better life. But yeah, I mean, if you're asking somebody to do something and you're like, yeah, I want my kids to be strong, but we don't spend the time getting ourselves strong, then it's a little hypocritical. I really like what you said there. You said every goal is on the other side of hard work.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, I'm sure everyone says something like that, but it is like you set your goal and you just work hard, and because I'm not the smartest guy, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the most athletic, but I work hard to try to accomplish my goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a huge motivator, to have your son be the motivation. You know what I mean? Because
That's the biggest
because like I was
motivation.
saying, if you ever left the fire department, or your situation ever changed or something like that, right? So if you're only letting it dictate what you do based on maybe your current job or your current situation, like for me, um, I have my studio right downstairs. Well, if I didn't have my studio right downstairs, what would that look like for me? Like would I just
Right.
stop? Would it just be someone just like turn around and be lazy and be like, well, I don't have that anymore, so they're going to use that as an excuse to give up. But
Right.
when you use your family, because I use my family as a big motivator too, it was like training with sandbags and training, putting heavy things on top of my body and trying to walk with it and carry with it. It's like, well, if I ever need to pick my wife up and throw her over my
Yeah.
shoulders and walk with her, then it's like you need to physically be able to do that. So I like using family as motivation too.
When it also comes down to the simple fact is like, hopefully it never happens, but, unfortunately you hear about, things, in the news that, God forbid one day you might have to defend your family.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to defend my family,
Right.
whether it's they get out safely, or all of us. Either way, the number one concern is them getting away safely.
Right.
So,
And just having the ability to do that. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Because it's like, yeah, you might never have to do that, God forbid. But, even
Yeah.
if your house catches on fire, something that might, have a higher probability, there's the house fire or something like that, and you have to carry someone out, even if it's not as extreme as, they pass out from the smoke, but maybe they sprain their ankle trying to run or something like that, and they get hurt or they hurt their leg, and you have to be there to help. I mean, just something like that, where it doesn't necessarily have to be life or death, but it's this person needs help, and you need to be strong enough and physically capable enough to help them. That's huge,
But that still could be, if they sprain their ankle, they can't walk. That's still life and death, because if they don't get out fast enough, the smoke's going to get them. So,
True. Yeah, absolutely. And you see so many fires all the time, you know what I mean? Like, just things will just start from little things sometimes, right?
Yeah. A lot of times it's like, I remember one, it was a pretty bad one a couple years ago. We responded, as a squad company, we do special operations, but we also, we can come in as a engine company because we have water on the truck. When we pull up this house, 3-story, heavy fire, second and third floor. The lady, she's, the way she just tells me her son is up there, I knew, because a lot of people say nonsense, like, oh, there's kids in there. But just the way she looked at me and said it, I knew her kid was up there. So I had the hose line, and, come flying up the steps. Fires meet me coming down the steps, knock that down, come around, knock down the hallway, knock down the first room, knock down the second room, come around to the front. And it was a wind-driven day. Mm-hmm. The fire just blew right on me, and it lit me up pretty good. I got burned pretty good, and it kept blowing back on me a few times. And I don't know how many times, but I got wound up getting second-degree burns on both sides of my head, my neck, and my thumb. Mm-hmm. And the only way I was able to put it out is I knocked it down, and I jumped in the room and knocked down the rest of it. Then I had to make my way to the third floor, knock down that fire. That's where we found the kid by the window, which was pretty crappy. But the reason I'm telling this story is because they had a candle by the window. And the wind was so strong that day, it blew, and then it just caught the rest of the house, and the father, because there was a bunch of kids living in the house, he was dropping the kids out the back window onto like a little porch front. Mm-hmm. And he got all the kids out except for his own son, and he didn't know that. And his son was right next to the window because you can't see anything in all that smoke. So, I mean, he did a heroic actions, and just unfortunately his son, didn't make it. And, I could never imagine that, and he did everything he could.
Wow. So the kid made it?
No, we, when I saw that fire load, like we made the, best push we got, and, we found him like by the window.
Wow. So the dad was actually putting other kids out the window, and his own son was right next to that exact same window that the kids were going out of, or a different room?
Yeah. Same room, same window.
Wow.
He got overcome by the fire and the smoke, and, he thought they were all outside,
Wow.
So, but I knew just from my experience that unless the kid was outside somewhere, he wasn't making that, but you got to, when kids are involved, that's, a little bit more, you always give all you have, but with the kids, that's when you go way above and beyond.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's a shame. I think I remember that fire. I remember those burns that you had, but I don't know if I knew the whole story, because that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you get up early. How do you start your day? What time is early for you? And do you actually encourage the little man to get up at the same time as you?
Usually, like, if he's got school, I want him to sleep in a little later.
Yeah.
So I'll get up like 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's not super early, but it's good for me. And I wake up usually, say a couple prayers or whatever, and then I already have my workout stuff already laid out. If it's my day off, all my stuff laid out.
Mm-hmm.
I did his stuff all ready for the night before, for school. And get up, do what I have to do, get ready, wake him up, and then get him ready, drop him off at school. Then I either hit the gym, go for a run, or hit up jujitsu.
So do you do anything in between there? Like you said, you get up 5:30, 6 o'clock. Will you eat anything before you get him up and out to school? Because then it's probably like what time are you waking him up?
Probably wake him up around like 7.
Okay. So that's a good hour and a half to hour before.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in between there to kind of get yourself ready for the day, or to get yourself, ready to work out right after you drop him off at school? Because then you're like 2 hours in, right? 2 hours into your day.
Yeah.
So what's that look like? Are you eating? Are you taking any supplements, or what are you doing?
What I'll do is, I'll eat something like, usually I'll eat like some oatmeal with organic honey, some organic apple. And then
That'll help fuel you through your workouts.
Yeah. But I take the Vega protein shake. It's like mostly vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a pea-based protein. So I take that, get some vegetables in me, and then, get them off, and then, go hammer it out.
Yeah. So if you are going to go to the gym, right, the jiu-jitsu, you said, or go for a run.
Yeah.
But what do the actual workouts look like? You mentioned earlier when you were talking about the personal training, it was like the sled, ropes.
Okay.
So what does that look like?
So usually I do like a Metcon metabolic conditioning. So like, for example, I use a sled a lot. So I, put my 50-pound vest on, depending if I want to do more fire-based type workout or do I want more of a speed workout, so if the vest is on or not. So kind of like it's a, push the sled up.
How do you dictate that? How do you dictate that? Is it based on how you feel that particular day, or is it based on, well, last week I did this, so this week I'm going to do this, or is it just you kind of base it like workout to workout?
I kind of base it workout to workout. I kind of do it that way.
Okay.
And then, so like the sled runway I have is a basketball court. So whatever that is, 80 feet or whatever. So, I'll push it up and then, either drag, like for one example, like the one we did the one day, we push it up and drag it back,
mm-hmm.
It's a partner workout, or, I'll push it up and then I'll have like, I'll do something down there, whether it's like sit-ups or like simulation of like, I get the 45-pound bar and act like I'm, ripping down ceilings. And then I'll, drag or push it back. And then I'll do the tire sledge hits or, a carry, up and back with like about 225 pounds,
mm-hmm.
using like the hex bar. So I just try to think of, all type of like movements I may do on a fire ground. I'll grab a 45-pound plate, hold her above my head like I'm holding a metal cutting saw, like cutting a roll-up door, security door.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk up and back with that. So it's just, how it is. It's only limited by imagination you're going to do, what you're going to do with. So
yeah. And you go than lighter, or you do a little mix of both?
For what, the Metcons?
Yeah.
Because the sled, if I'm doing like a whole Metcon, usually I'm only have like 90 to 100 pounds on it.
Okay.
So the heaviest thing would probably be the carry. But if I'm doing more of like, I guess, a power sled workout, then, put more weight on there.
Yeah.
Make it heavier. But it's, then I'll push it up, then I'll rest like a minute or two and then push it back. So
for someone who's listening to this and they don't have something specific they're training for, right? They're not in an active work environment like you are, and all that stuff, but still want to be healthy, fit, functional, strong, all that kind of stuff. What would you recommend for that person? What would how would you structure your workouts, or would it be any different? You know, what would you do?
Okay. Well, I mean, in fact, they are trained. They're training for life every day, right? So
Yeah.
they want to be functional. So,
Well, let's say
so
they're
they
working, they
don't.
just sit at a desk, and they want to,
Yeah.
but yeah, exactly. They're still training for life.
So, would they have access to sleds or anything or nothing like that, or?
Let's say it's just a regular gym. You know, they got dumbbells,
Okay.
they got a barbell, and yeah, stuff like
Okay.
maybe some cable machine.
Okay. Well, I would definitely make up certain metcons for them. Like you got all the ones that CrossFit does, but you can, tailor to one. Like the one I did this morning was it was a pretty quick one. I did 5 rounds of 7 thick grip pull ups, 25 sit ups, and then max black bend resistant push ups. And I did that, and then after that, I kept it light with the deadlifts. For strength, I did I think 5x5 at 315 for deadlifts. And also finish off. I try to get 200 to 300 push-ups and sit-ups per workout that I do. And then finish off the pull-ups with about 60. The wide grips or the thick grips.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then so I do something like that. Because I believe you need your functional strength also. You need your deadlifts, you need your squats. I'm a big proponent of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're only squatting and bending and picking stuff up all day long, or, at least sometimes throughout the day. So yeah, that's huge. Okay. That's cool. So it sounds like it would be pretty similar.
Yeah. Yeah. I just try to, because especially when I'm deployed, when we do have access to the gym, they don't have a sled there. So I just try to, like, another go-to one of mine is, and it's pretty quick. It's like a 21, 15, 9 rep stream where, I use 225 deadlift, and then I do sit-ups, push-ups, and then for the kettlebells, available, I use that. So, 21 deadlifts, 21 kettlebell swings, 21 sit-ups, 21 push-ups, and then down to 15, down to 9.
Yeah.
So it's real quick, and it's pretty good. So
you can't wait for your son to be able to work out with you.
What's that?
I said, I bet you can't wait for your son to be able to work out with you.
Oh, that's gonna be so much fun.
I look forward to it. So, I mean, he already comes down in the studio with me, and he'll do his. We got this little, it's not even a hex. It's like this ball, but sides on it. It tells you what to do. So you kind of make it into a little bolt on the floor, and they'll say do 10 burpees or 15 push-ups or water break. Everybody loves the water break one, but he'll just roll it on the floor, and then he'll go do whatever it is. And if he doesn't know the movement, then he'll ask me. We'll do it together, stuff like that. So, but I think that's so important. That they see all of that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They see us doing it, so that this way they know, okay, well, this is just what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? This is really the way that you're supposed to do it. Like my son was telling me the one day he's at school and he's doing push-ups just because they were bored. They're like, they get like this little free time to get up and do whatever they want. And he's getting down on the ground and doing push-ups. But then these two other kids tell him, that's not how you do push-ups. And the one kid shows him. And he's like putting his hips on the ground, and he's like, looks like he's doing like the worm. And Jimmy's like, no, that's not how you do push-ups, And then the other kid, I guess, was friends with the other kid. The 2 other kids, they were friends or whatever. And the one kid's like, no, he's right. That's how you do push-ups. He's like, doesn't. I do them the right way. And he's like banging out like 10 of them. And even his gym instructor or his gym teacher called him out in class and had him do push-ups in front of everybody one day just to show him how to do it the right way. And so, I mean, like little things like that, it's just so important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And also I think it also helps where you get them when they're working out now. So this is all they know. And then, it transpires to sports where they're learning the team, atmosphere. They're learning their discipline. They're learning all that good stuff, and it's helping keep them away from trouble.
Yeah.
So it's such a big thing in being involved in that stuff. Yeah.
Just keeping them out of trouble.
Yeah.
because people that do that
So
kind of stuff, I mean, know, well, he's going to be getting back into jiu-jitsu, right? Your son, he was off
yeah,
road. He's already back.
yeah, he's back now after his season of wrestling. So
Right, because of wrestling, so he's like back and forth between the two. But you know,
yeah,
kids that do that kind of stuff, that nobody in my son's class, and I don't know how it is with your place, but I know you go to a really good, nice place. It's like it doesn't seem like there's like a lot of bad seats in those types of classes. You know what I mean? Because it's a sport where you have to be humble, or at least you should be humble, right? And
right.
you know,
Or as they say, is be humble or get humbled.
yeah, that should be on the T-shirt.
Yeah,
Um,
that should be your next one.
yeah, right. So, it's you're getting your kid involved in something where it's like there's usually a mutual amount of respect on the mats. You know what I mean? And other people are trying to help other people. You know what I mean? So getting the kids involved. I mean, I'm sure it's like that in other teams too. You know, I mean, there's basketball and baseball and other sports, but I
think it's a little different in the combat sports because you done, you get done, crushing each other, and it's like always a hug afterwards. Like I just think it's, I just think it's more in the combat sports. Me personally.
That's a good point. Well, we're not even at a year yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing like where he's going to be at after a year. And your boys, well, at least a year, right? Didn't he start at least a year or almost?
Yeah. He started last year. Then he took his break for his second season of wrestling. And now he's back. So
yeah, but it's not like he's doing nothing on his time off from jiu-jitsu, quote unquote time off. Because you're learning everything else in wrestling to get yourself even better for jiu-jitsu. So it's not like
he does because he'll run a soccer season, and then soccer he'll do soccer and jiu-jitsu at the same time, and then once wrestling comes up because it just takes it's just so time consuming. He just wrestles.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. What's the big lesson that I don't know. I feel like as the boys get older, there's just like new things or new focuses, that I feel like I have to have, or not like a theme, not like a theme of the month, nothing set in stone like that, but something that, where before it was like, hey, let's make your bed and have the discipline to like, keep your stuff neat. And I feel like that's gotten a lot better. And now, there's different themes that come up and different messages. Do you have anything like that where, it's something that you're working on with your son right now, where it's like, hey, this is what we're trying to focus on, or this is what I'm trying to instill in him. Maybe it's because of a book that you were reading, or just something that's coming up for him in life, anything like that?
I mean, it's always a battle with the discipline and the focus. They're young, so they'll have. I just saw, especially during the wrestling season. He would have the weeks he was disciplined. He'd go out there and he put it all together. Then the other weeks where he's messing around a little bit, when it wasn't focused, then he would get run over.
Yeah.
And he didn't like to lose, but you get what you put into it. You can't get upset, with your results if you didn't put the work into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the big lesson now is just realizing, okay, well, if you don't like that result, how much work did you really put into it?
Yeah.
So, he's seeing it with school. He's doing really good in school. He's, because he's got that down. Might mess around a little too much in school, but they're boys. So
yeah, and like I said, they're still young. I mean, they're only 6.5 right now, so it's like
exactly.
It's a maturity thing too.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure our parents, our moms would probably say, "Oh, they were perfect angels." Yeah, right. You talk to our teachers, they probably have a different story.
Yeah, but in the kids' defense, though, in our defense when we were that young, the school system, where you're just forcing 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds to sit still in a chair and just learn in a passive environment where you're just feeding them information, and then they're just sitting there trying to retain it and then apply it with a couple pieces of paper or some assignments that they're doing in class. That's really not how we're designed to learn. I mean, most people learn when they're hands-on anyway. You know what I mean? Correct. But it's like learning how to cook by reading just a cookbook. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get in there and you got to do it. And you have to have that experience.
Yeah.
And then just to assume that 6-year-olds are going to be okay and not label them with, you know, ADD or something like that. You know, oh, they got learning disabilities or something like that. It's just like, yeah, those things do exist, of course, but we got to understand that that's not the type of environment that they really should be in from a logical, primitive perspective, you know?
And I agree, because if you ever sat in any of the trainings I ever been to, it always starts with your classroom work and then hands-on. You look around at the guys in there, they're all like fidgeting. They're not paying attention because you're sitting there. That's why we have so many breaks during the training, is because guys are losing focus and they're just like, I don't feel like sitting here anymore.
Yeah.
So give them a break, you know, and then you bring them back in and, you know, they're refreshed. So
yeah, because we need that movement, you know?
Exactly.
We need that movement. When we stop moving, we're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't remember if they were watching it. Yeah, they were, I guess, because they were doing, I don't know, when the boys were just together a few days ago. The fact that, you know, we're talking about movement, it just made me think of this. The fact that they have all these stupid Go Noodles and these damn, what the hell's that name of that game? Fortnite dances, you know, that all these kids are doing. I'll go pick up my son from school and they're all doing these Fortnite dances and, you know, like these little soft battles. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But they stand in front of the TV and we're still looking at the TV, but then trying to get movement in while they're looking at the TV. So I guess it's like the lesser of two evils, but it's like, turn the TV off and just go move, you know?
Yeah, go outside.
Don't
play,
mimic
you know,
some moron on the TV
forward.
doing some, you know, dance. It's like the Carlton dance, but then they just rename it the Fresh, and the kids were so impressed. You know?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was it.
I was gonna say, like, it reminds me, you know, when we were talking about that, you know, this past week, the Big Bang Theory episode where they said something like that. They need to get exercise, and they're playing like Wii tennis or something.
Yeah,
you know, like sweating, ready to die. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
go outside.
exactly. You know, so it's kind of cool that it gets the video game, get them up and moving, but it's like you're still standing in front of the TV, inside, fresh air. You know, of course, the pessimist would be like, well, we'll just open some windows for fresh air. It's like, that's not the point. That's not the point.
Not at all.
Go stand next to a tree and do something.
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go enjoy life. It's beautiful outside, you know?
Cool, man. All right. Well, before you get going, as with every interview, we end with 10 questions, and these 10 questions were inspired by James Lipton and then Bernard Pivot. So you ready? Final 10 questions?
Sure. Send them.
Number 1, who is your hero?
Ooh. I have to say the military fighting man and woman.
There you go. Amen. What excites you?
Ooh. A lot of things excite me. You know, I'll say this. I think what excites me is, you know, just doing awesome things with the family. That, you know, vacations or just hanging out with, like, you know, you guys, whatever. I just love being with the family.
Yeah. What turns you off?
Unkind people.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite sound?
Ooh. Oh, I don't know. That's I guess, you know what? I'll say the ocean. Ocean waves lapping.
Against Margaritaville. What is your least favorite sound?
Somebody whining.
What is your favorite quote or saying?
I do have a few I liked. I got known on the FEMA deployments for always saying "get some." So that's pretty partial to me. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, like you know, your goals are on the other side of hard work. That's, you know, that's one I try to, you know. I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna give you a few. You know, I always things in my head when, you know, everyone has, their mind trying to play games on them when they're doing something tough. And I always thinking myself, I can do this all day, or, never quit, just stuff like that just keeps me going.
Embracing the suck.
Welcome to the suck.
Yeah. In other words, what should a dad be?
I think a dad should be a true example of what a human being should be. And, by, showing their family or their kids how to be a kind and strong man.
Nice. In a couple of words, what should a dad not be?
Piece of shit.
There you go. Sum it up real nice. Could try any other profession, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a couple. I got a couple good ones. Okay. Some kind of like special operator in the military, or some kind of like federal law enforcement.
Okay, cool. And finally, what would you like to be remembered for?
Someone who gave their all to to God, family, and country. Really
nice. Can't ask for much more than that, right?
No, not at all.
Awesome. Well, Gary, thank you so much for coming on the Warrior Dads podcast. It's been an honor having you on, man. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm glad we were finally able to make this work and do this. Yeah,
I appreciate it, man. Like I said, man, I'm very honored to be on here, especially with the big names you had on. It's a true honor to be able to share the same podcast with them and with you, because you're a great person. You set a great example for your family and for your son. So
thanks, man. Appreciate that. And as always with every veteran, thank you for your service.
It was my honor to serve, man.
Yeah, man. And you're still serving, still in the fire department.
Very lucky to do it.
So
very.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, have a good one. We will talk soon. And again, thank you so much.
No problem, cuz.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye. Hey, guys. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Warrior Dads podcast. If you like this podcast and want to support it, please subscribe, leave comments, and share it with someone you think would benefit from listening as well. Thanks again, and keep on being a warrior dad.